How Marion Works, a podcast series dedicated to informing you of the inner workings in all areas of Marion government and public services. Thank you for listening. Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 12 of How Marion Works. I'm your host, Layla Price-Bodkin, and I'd like to welcome my guest host, Dina Weiss. Welcome back, Dina. Thanks for joining me today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
So today's episode highlights the workings of both development and redevelopment. Our guest today is our Contracted Economic Development Director and Marion Redevelopment Commission Executive Director, Joe Murphy. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks so much for having me.
Your title is actually longer than mine, so
it's a mouthful.
I don't know. Congratulations, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Congratulations.
So we're going to start with a little icebreaker. Are you a coffee drinker, and what is your favorite coffee or caffeinated drink?
I am a very big coffee drinker. I started drinking in college, and I went straight into the deep end. I don't know if it says something about my personality or who I am, but I committed. I was like, if I'm going to drink coffee, I'm just going to drink it black, straight, nice and hot. So whether it's 100 degrees or 10 degrees, I'm drinking hot black coffee. That's the only thing I really care for. I make it at home. I don't really do a whole lot of Starbucks or anything like that. I like what I like, and it's very simple and traditional.
You hear that, Rob? Our photographer's over there with his Starbucks.
Yeah.
What about you, Dina?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I have like an IV drip coffee. I'm kidding. I love coffee. I can't, if I don't have my coffee, I don't even want to talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Not until I've had my coffee, and then we can talk.
I am the same way. So when did I start drinking coffee? I don't know. But I am definitely a coffee drinker. I can't go any morning without it. Mm-mm. I have had to go down to half calf just for my own health reasons, but I drink it black. Sometimes I put honey in it, and sometimes I'll put like a caramel syrup in it, but nothing artificial. It's got to be natural. But yeah, I'm like a rebel, but I'm not, because I'm just drinking half calf coffee, and I even wrote a song about it, about being a rebel, where it's called "The Rebel in Me," and there's actually a line in it where it's like, I drink Java Black, but it's half decaf.
Oh, I love it. One of my favorite coffees is the Cafe Miel from Ashley's.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that coffee is delicious.
And that has milk and honey in it, right?
It does. It can be whole milk, almond milk, oat milk, whatever milk you choose, but it's just really good.
Yes. Okay. Well, Joe, we just want to learn a little bit about you and kind of where you were born and raised, and what molded you and shaped you into who you are today.
Oh, gosh. Well, like anybody, I'm sure there's a lot of things, a lot of factors. So I grew up in Lawrence, Indiana, which is in Marion County, right in the middle of the state. Went to Lawrence North High School, and I guess when I think back to how I became who I am today, and why I'm in the career I'm in today, I think it probably started in high school. I was never really gravitating towards a lot of the math or science classes, but initially history grabbed my attention. Then I had the opportunity to take like a higher level AP government law class when I was in high school, and my teacher was really, inspirational to me. He was a mentor of mine, both in the classroom as well as in athletics, and so I really just gravitated towards that and became really interested in the legislative process and the government process. And at that point, it was more about state and federal, which is what we were learning in school. And then as I got into college and I was in the School of Public and Environmental Affairs and had the idea that I wanted to go into public service, I started to gravitate more and more towards the local public sector and local government. And that's when I had the fortune to meet who I now consider to be one of my biggest mentors, Mayor Steve Collier, who was the mayor of my hometown at the time. And he allowed me to come into his office and start with him as an intern back when I was a junior in college. And I spent about a year and a half, 2 summers, and then actually my final senior year working for him part-time, first in the controller's office and then in his office as his deputy chief of staff. And really from there, I've just had a love affair with local government. And I think what I care about so much about local government is just I think people don't appreciate how much we impact your day-to-day lives, even more so than people at the state and federal level. Obviously, those people get the headlines, and those are the people that you hear about on the local media and as well as the national media. But the things that we get to do day-to-day really do have a profound impact on people's lives. And so I love being able to drive through my community and see, just the physical change that we're able to create, as well as the impact on people's lives. So that's why I keep coming back for it. That's why, even though now officially I'm in the private sector, I keep coming back and working for public sector clients, because this is just a great opportunity to be able to impact people's lives.
That is
Awesome.
so cool. What college was it?
Indiana University down in Bloomington. Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice.
When were you there?
I was there from 2013 through 18. I stayed 5 years. They couldn't get me out of school.
Hey, me too. Me too. 4.5.
Yeah, and so yeah, I was
great.
I was down there and studying at the School of Public and Environmental Affairs, and graduated with a degree in public policy. So I was, like I said, I kind of knew basically from the time I stepped on campus. I think the first time I met with my counselor, I switched from a business degree over to that SPIA track, and I knew from then on I wanted to go work in public government.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've already basically gotten a taste of all the different facets. Controller's office. I mean, you've got the business side of things. And I love how you explain that you're basically working locally. You're gravitated to working locally because, I mean, I get it. I feel the same way. So you started working for a contracted company, or basically a company called Garmong. Can you explain who they are and how that connected you with the City of Marion?
Yeah, absolutely. So Garmong, we're a 102-year-old family-owned construction company, currently in the 4th generation. So my boss, Mitch Hannum, he is the next generation of leadership within the company. We actually started out initially manufacturing crates for Army munitions during World War II. So that's how we got our start. And now, obviously, we've become a full-service construction company with offices in Indianapolis, Terre Haute, Evansville, and Fort Wayne. We do about $250 million in construction every year. A lot of it is in the public sector. So I had the opportunity to first work and get to know the people at Garmong back when I was working as the Deputy Chief of Staff for Mayor Collier in Lawrence. And they helped us with initially a police department construction, our very first freestanding police department in the city of Lawrence, and then helped us with the reconstruction of an existing fire station, Fire Station 38.
Oh, wow.
And just got to know the folks over there really, really well, and they were great to work with. What I love about them, which, again, if you just heard what I said, kind of aligned with how I felt, was that as a constructor, they were very community engaged. They came in early in the process, wanted to understand what our problems were and how they could be a part of the solution, and then once they finished construction, they stayed around and continued to support our local organizations, continue to support the mayor and his ambitions to continue to make the city a better place. And so I always kept in touch with those guys. And as Mayor Collier was getting to the end of his last term in office, and it was clear he was going to retire, he was an older gentleman, and I was approached by a couple people at Garmong and asked, hey, you really understand the local government side. You also have this economic development background, which is really exciting for us. We would like you to, come over and work for us when you're ready to. And so I took that opportunity and I moved there, and it would have been September of 22, so about 2.5 years ago, coming up on 3 years, and now serve as an economic development specialist for them. So really what I do for them is part of my role is to be a economic development contractor, which is what I do for the City of Marion. So my services are for hire, and I come out to these communities who don't have professionals in-house who are capable of doing what I'm doing, and come in and try to support their economic development programs as best I can. And that can take a number of different shapes. It can be focused on, different sectors of economic development, residential, retail, commercial, industrial. It could also be focused on addressing, community issues like infrastructure and quality of life and parks and all those great things that also impact economic development. So I've seen a lot from that perspective. And then the other half of my job is more of a traditional business development role, where I go out and talk to a lot of the same communities, as well as people in the healthcare and the education space, both K through 12 and higher ed, and try to market Garmong as a good contractor and a good construction manager, and try to earn some work for the company so that we can continue to build great buildings and continue to impact communities through that as well.
Wow. So your job is really unique and it's really
It is.
specialized.
Yes.
We are so lucky to have you, by the way.
Absolutely.
You work very hard for the City of Marion.
That's right.
Listen, folks, listen to everything that he's already done and achieved and can do for us and has done for us. So when it pertains to the City of Marion, what are your specific responsibilities and who do you typically work with from day to day?
Oh gosh, so many things come to mind. I think when I started with Mayor Morrell and the Redevelopment Commission a little bit later, I had a pretty specific scope of work that pertained to, managing some of the city's existing inventory of buildings and land and trying to get those back into the market and get those back on the tax rolls and redeveloped. I think there was also a goal in mind that I could just continue to support the mayor in attracting development to the community, and we certainly have done a lot of that. But my list of duties continues to expand, and I think when I look back at that scope of work that the mayor and I developed early on in our relationship, I included in there, I think it was like the fifth or sixth component of the scope was any other business determined by the mayor. And I think
That's not
I think
good.
I regret that now because my role certainly has expanded time and time again. And I'm only joking, of course. I love that I've gotten to engage with more and more departments of the city. So, yeah, I think my day-to-day really, that's what I love about this job is my day-to-day really, I kind of walk into the office and sit down and I look at some email and I see who's trying to reach out to me, and that kind of dictates which direction I get to go in. But,
Right. Yes.
any of the things that you see the mayor putting out on social media or you see us doing through Redevelopment Commission, I've got some hand in. Certainly not the catalyst for all of that stuff, but, help participate and work where I can. As far as who I engage with, again, the both of you have been great colleagues and really helped me out, especially with continuing to get our
Thanks.
get our message out there
That's
as we accomplish all these great things. We need to continue to sell ourselves and let people know about all the great things happening in Marion. You guys have been really helpful and instructive in that respect, and also work very, very closely with our financial advisors, both our private group through Baker Tilly as well as the controller's office. Obviously everything we're doing is involving some level of money, whether it's coming out from the city or we're receiving money for sale of purchase or properties. So we work very closely with them. And then a lot of the agreements that when we bring these developers to town, there's a lot of really complicated legal components. So we're working with both our in-house
Right.
counsel, Michael Hotz, as well as our Redevelopment Commission attorney, Chris Greisel, to be sure that, number one, first and foremost, the city's compliant with all applicable laws and we're doing everything that's right so that we're above board and that nobody has any reason to question how we're going about getting these projects into town. But then, of course, there's also there's large exchanges of money, there's exchanges of real estate, there's exchanges of all these different things. There's really complicated, detailed timelines and required legal processes we have to follow. So I work very
Right.
closely with all of our attorneys as well to be sure that as we go about doing this, the city and the people within the city can trust that we're doing it the right way and that these agreements are gonna benefit the city and not come back to hurt us in the end.
Well, I'm glad that you are a guest today because we actually this has been a big week because we
Absolutely.
finished the State of the City address. Our mayor highlighted some things that, Dina, I'm going to have you read the highlights that our mayor posted from the State of the City address. And Joe, as she reads, you can chime in and, or maybe I'll just have you read it all, Dina, and
Sure.
then we'll have Joe comment on some things that may have pertained to some work that he was doing through Garmong or with the Redevelopment Commission or other.
Absolutely. So a 54% general fund cash reserve. Wow, that's amazing. A $10 million invested in infrastructure, $65 million in new business, business expansion, a total of 205 new jobs, $57 million in private investments into the Riverfront District. By the data, facts, the crime in our city is the lowest that it's been in 5 years. 2.7 million invested in our parks. 1.5 million invested in cleaning up Marion and blight elimination. Fire Station 1 is set to break ground this summer. And over 130 million of new investments into Marion in just 18 months.
It's really something to applaud.
Isn't that incredible?
And yeah, this was over his 18 months in office. So since the very beginning of his administration. And I know that, Joe, you've been a part of it since day one.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you just read, Dina, is amazing to see that kind of growth over the 18-month period that we've all had the opportunity to work with the mayor. And ultimately, I give all the credit to him. I mean, it's the start and the finish all goes back to Mayor Morrell. He's what's impressed me most about him, other than his intelligence and his ability to command a room, is just his enthusiasm.
Yes.
What Marion needed and change was really just kind of an attitude change, a character change, right? And I think he's really brought that. He has reinvigorated people both locally. People are now excited about the trajectory of the city, but then it's also, as you can see through these numbers, we're starting to attract the attention of the state and of the region, and that's where you can see that last number, that 130 million in new investment. Those are people that are identifying what I just mentioned, that the mayor has changed the trajectory of the community, and they're wanting to get a part of it. And so I think it's really great, and I think that he's doing that, both vocally with his speaking and his traveling town halls and all of his social media use, but he's also putting the work behind the scenes in to get it done. And I think that what I would point out more than anything on this list, I mean, the jobs and the investment are fantastic, but that's all made possible by being an attractive community, and that starts with, number one, being fiducially responsible. So
Yes.
54% cash reserve is huge.
Huge.
That just, that's a great little piggy bank for the city to be able to fall back on if, things like state legislation changes and causes a restructuring of our financial systems, but then also the infrastructure and quality of life pieces through the parks, through the blight elimination, through the streets. I mean, how you present yourself. The first thing that someone comes into town and sees before they get to talk to me, before they get to talk to the mayor, before they decide whether or not it makes sense to come to town and invest their own money, is they're going to drive through and they're going to drive on our streets. They're going to see our sidewalks. They're going to see our street signs. They're going to see our parks. They're going to make an impression of our community before they ever get to hear from myself or anybody else within the city. And I can only do so much to try to counter what they've seen with their eyes. People's eyes don't lie to them. So it's so important that work gets done. And there are huge consequences, positive consequences for putting in that work, even though a lot of it isn't super exciting or attractive on paper, right? So It's great.
I think that, ultimately, like what you said, our ultimate goal, your ultimate goal, the mayor's ultimate goal is to make this city have a nice quality of life. His theme this year was from desperation to destination. And we attract others when we have a good quality of life and when it's resonating within us, and when they come here and they see the streets and everything in the parks. So, Joe, I wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe market some things that you have available to site selectors that maybe we have as opportunities for entrepreneurs or developers right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, really, if you look at our city from a plan view overhead, right, we have on our east side I-69 coming into 18 into town. I think there's tremendous opportunity right now, evidenced by the news that we just announced a couple days ago that we're bringing a new healthcare partner to town. Yes. With Parkview Health and End of Care doing the development there.
Big news.
Huge. And I think that just goes to show that that interstate area is primed for takeoff, and we have opportunity there to partner with people that are wanting to come to town to do some larger scale development. If you look out there, I mean, there's a ton of space around that I-69 corridor that's yet to be developed, and a lot of that is inside of our overlay district. It's inside of city limits or just outside of city limits. We have utilities out there, so that stuff is all really, really primed for big development. And that, in our mind, that's probably a combination of some kind of, interstate retail that's already there, like the gas stations, but then something that's maybe even higher quality of that, like a hotel or some other restaurant space out there. And then it's also primed for industrial logistics. That I-69 corridor is one of the most traveled interstates in the Midwest. We are equidistant between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne, so
we are
regional.
The only city. We are the only
right.
city in the state that is perfectly just right in the middle of the Fort Wayne area. In the
so
Indy
if you're
area.
So if you're an industrial logistics business that's doing business in those cities, or really anywhere up into Michigan or down into Kentucky, this is a great position for you to be in here. And then as we transition down 18, kind of into the middle of the city, we have a ton of opportunity for redevelopment and infill. You know, we have a downtown that is, you know, we have a riverfront district now, which I'm sure you guys have talked about on previous episodes. We have a Dora district downtown now. So we are priming the pump for this great growth in our downtown area, and the city owns a number of lots. We've got several acres of lots that are open for development right now, looking for partners to create those new 2, 3, 4-story mixed-use developments that contain retail as well as office space and multifamily housing. And, you know, we've already announced 2 of those projects going in, one at Jones Heritage. That's a redevelopment project, and then a new build with Shelby Bone and the Rebar Group to build a multi-use facility down there. So we're looking to compound on that and continue to develop that in the downtown. And then, you know, in that center district as well, we have, you know, I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head, but it's still neighbors, 150 plus open lots across kind of that central district of our community that are primarily residential, but there are also some commercial and other use lots out there that are lots that were part of our blight elimination program, or lots that we've acquired through other means over the course of several years, and we're actively trying to get those back into people's hands so that they can do things like, you know, if they finally have the opportunity to build the house of their dreams, you know, and stay local, or if we're talking about development, looking for people that are willing to do infill housing projects and continue to fill in those neighborhoods and replace those homes that we've lost because of blight or other issues. So we have a great opportunity there, and we're, you know, willing to partner with you on that as well. And then as we finally transition over to the west side of our community in the bypass right there, we have on the bypass amazing, tremendous opportunities for retail development. You know, I think that you've seen, again, in just the past 8 months, we've had the Starbucks opening. We've had several other projects that have announced either ribbon cuttings or groundbreakings in that area. And I think that if I just, you know, anecdotally, if I drive up and down that corridor, you look at those restaurants, they're all busy. You look at the retail, the Meyer and all those groups that are out there, especially on the south side of the bypass, and they're packed. And as I talk to their ownership and their representation, they're all doing very, very well and very, very happy to be in Marion. So I think there's opportunity to continue to develop around that state road corridor and continue to support Marion with more retail. And then just past that, right, we still have opportunity for both residential housing near, you know, we did the Arbor development that's now been several years, but we have, you know, open farmland in that area, and we have people at the table who are comfortable to talk about selling their farmland for residential growth. And then, you know, we have great opportunity around our GM facility to continue to become known as, you know, one of the people that are resurging in the industrial market. You know, part of what I would point out to you is, you know, you read off that list, and we talked about $65 million in new business expansion, as well as 205 new jobs added. Almost all of those are in our industrial sector, you know, across 2 or 3 big projects. And we have local industrial development in here, manufacturing in Marion, that are doubling down on us and continuing to invest in the community and growing that industrial manufacturing base. So I think that just shows that we're ready to continue to accommodate and bring in new business in that space as well. And we have the land to do it, we have the resources to do it. And it's certainly something that as an administration, we want to continue to lean into is, you know, Marion we grew up in industry, and we want to remain industrial. We want to remain a manufacturing hub for the Midwest. And so we're very open to those conversations as well.
Yeah,
really,
that's a good point that you make, because people are unsure. Are we still a manufacturing area or not? So you're saying that we are still very strong with
absolutely.
With
I mean, you know, the 2 projects that we've been a part of in the last year that were really big boons for the city were the Hartson Kennedy project and the Cafe Valley project. And both of those projects included several million, if not tens of millions of dollars in new investment to purchase new equipment, as well as add dozens, in the Cafe Valley example, over 100 new jobs. And then in the Hartson Kennedy example, about 55, 60 new jobs coming to Marion in the next several years. So, like I said, our manufacturing partners in town continue to see us that way, and I think the administration does as well. I think what people need to understand is just that industry looks different today, right? So we're not necessarily going to ever. You think about our GM stamping plant. I'm not sure we're ever going to get back to our peak where we were at. You know, double the employment we're at today. But we are continuing, and we've spoken with GM, and they're adding new jobs every year in Marion, and they are relocating people from their other regional facilities into Marion to continue to grow. And we just put on. I think they're getting ready to cut the ribbon probably in the next 6 to 12 months on 2 new lines in that facility that are going to continue to produce more for GM out of that facility. So absolutely, our local partners continue to see us as a strong manufacturing hub, and I think that we would love to continue to build on that and bring new business into town in that space.
Yeah, and be more robust as a community for entrepreneurs and small businesses as well.
Absolutely, because it's a little, just in the retail market, it's a little underserved.
Yeah.
And it has a huge potential for the return on investment.
It does. And I appreciate you bringing that up. I mean, I think that we've talked a lot now about bringing outside development, and we also want to continue to support our people here locally who have the aspiration of starting business, or maybe already own a business and it's a single proprietorship, or it's just a small little in-house shop, maybe a family shop. We want to continue to support those people. We have programs in place like our revolving loan fund, as well as other resources, the Redevelopment Commission, to financially support those people as they move into a new space or they continue to expand or build out their space. We're also just looking to shed light on those people through promotion and marketing.
I would like to point out this amazing small business series.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe,
It's an amazing forum for small businesses to come together and collaborate and network with each other, learn from each other. You guys have got another one coming up on the 28th of May, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So I'm not sure when this comes out, but next Wednesday, the 28th, at 4:30 p.m. we're going to be over at IMG, and Trent Daly, who's the CEO and owner of that group, is going to be giving us a speech. I talked to him just the other day. He's still nailing down all of his talking points, but I think one thing I'll point out to you guys that I think is going to be really interesting and important to people in this community is he is going to be doing at least a portion of his speech on AI and its impact on business. I think that's something that a lot of people are going to want to hear about because whether you're in Marion or you're in Indianapolis or you're in New York City, AI is going to have an impact on your business in the next 5 years, if not the next 5 months. And you need to understand what it is and how it can benefit you so that it doesn't hurt you.
How Marion Works is sponsored by the City of Marion. This podcast covers the inner workings of city government to better serve you.
Yes. So since this podcast will air in June following it, I wasn't sure if you had the ability to record it in some way so that perhaps we could learn more about AI, or perhaps you could put some notes on the developer resources page that we've just created on the website. Maybe we can talk about that, and because it is becoming such a hot topic and a really important topic.
The first episode, I guess you could call it, did come out on Facebook with
That's right.
Kyren Monteiro.
Yeah, Kyren, who's sitting right behind here, was
okay.
gracious.
They did. That's right. They did record it. So yes, it will be
people
available.
We'll have those available, and if you're just hearing this now and you're looking to get involved in that program, either as a participant or just to support it through marketing and however you want to get engaged with it, we're trying to be consistent. We're meeting on the 4th Wednesday of every month. It'll be an evening session. We're hoping to continue to rotate the venue, so we'll be sure to publicize that. This team here in this room has been great about helping get the word out about that event. We've been producing flyers and trying to get that out to our partners so that as many people can be aware of those things and sign up if they want to attend. We also have an Eventbrite page, so make sure you check out the link and actually RSVP so we know how many people are coming and we can accommodate you. But yeah, I mean, that series was started in partnership with our Redevelopment Commission because we felt like there were a lot of people here locally who needed that community, and they needed people in their lives who could serve as business mentors and business leaders for them. And I think that when you create that sense of community, when you create that sense of camaraderie amongst these small business owners, it only serves to benefit the whole community. Again, we talked at the beginning about kind of changing the culture, changing the attitude around Marion, and I think that will actually go a long way towards helping a lot of these businesses if we can improve the communication and camaraderie amongst the people who are already working here in Marion. So we're very excited about that series. It's going to continue on. We've already got the next several speakers lined up through the end of the summer and into the fall.
Great.
And of course, shameless plug, if you feel like you would be a good participant in the series, not only as just an attendee, but as a speaker, please reach out to me. We're looking to continue to line those up several months in advance so we can advertise those and get people out and attend that event. But yeah, I mean, it's a 90-minute event at the most. It's very engaging. It's not someone sitting up and lecturing to you for 45 minutes. It's a conversation among business people about important business topics. And of course, there's refreshments. There's some food. So come on by, have a coffee, have a donut. and talk to your local business people, and whether it's sharing the positives or the negatives, we can all learn from those things. And I think that hopefully everybody that comes out of those sessions will feel like they're walking out on the back end with a little bit more knowledge of their local partners and a little bit more, business sense. That's hopefully we can continue to impart an education piece as well, so people can feel like they're gaining some value out of that meeting, not just meeting people, but also learning a little bit more about, well, maybe I should consider doing this with my business as opposed to the way I've been doing it. And that can apply to your financial structure, your culture, your business structure, or any number of things, whether you're thinking about growing or you feel like you need to, right? There's a million different things that we're going to hopefully cover month to month to month. So it pays to be a repeat customer as well, I would add, because every month we're going to cover a different topic. And, whether or not you feel like this month's topic really kind of hit home with you, next month's might, right? So continue to come back once you participate in those events, and hopefully we can have a good group that is regular repeat customers, and we'll continue. And it's free to attend, by the way. I say customer, but it's free to attend. So please come on by.
Yeah, and we have on our website, so we had released the press release that gave the whole lineup. So if you look in the news section, you'll see that whole lineup. Plus, if you have My Marion app, you will get a notification when the events are coming up. So make sure you download My Marion app to get that notification, and make sure you enable your notifications. And then we also post them on our Facebook page as well. So yes, definitely get involved if you're interested. And maybe if you live just outside the city limits, you're still welcome. Is that right?
Yes, please. We're not trying to exclude anybody. Obviously, we want to support local, but I think people also need to understand that, we go with Grant County, right? So if Grant County is doing well, it benefits the city of Marion and vice versa. So we're not trying to exclude anybody.
That's right. Joe, really quick while we have you here.
Yes.
I know a lot of times that, and this is just to clarify for the listeners at home, a lot of people can get a little confused as for the sale of our city properties. So they are lots. So not to be confused with a tax sale.
Correct.
Right.
So just to make that clear.
Yeah. So we have, like I mentioned, we've got, 150 odd lots. They're properties that we've acquired through a number of reasons over, literally 15 to 20 years. Some of them going back as early as 07, 08. We've owned them for all that time. And they're mostly lots. Some of them did have old homes on them. We've, again, through our blight elimination program, partnering with our building department and Jerry Foss Knight, demoed a lot of those because they were unsafe structures. And now we have these lots. And if you are interested in purchasing them, you work directly with me in my office. We have kind of a questionnaire that we ask that you fill out on the front end that provides me with your general contact information as well as pertinent information about what you hope to do with the property if you were to acquire it. And then, and again, this is something that we have to comply with. It's state law. We have to conduct appraisals and then set a price for the sale that is equivalent to those two appraisals, the average of those two appraisals to be exact. And as long as we have agreeable terms and we feel like the reuse is appropriate for the site, we'll move forward with you, get a project agreement in place, and then we will work with a local title company to get that real estate transferred into your ownership. And we'll, whatever those funds are that come back to the city, ultimately those monies go back into our building department and redevelopment commission to continue to pay for things like our blight elimination program. So that money goes right back into the community. It's not,
amazing.
I think we've had comments in the past about, why are you trying to make a profit on these sales?
Right.
We're certainly not trying to make a profit. We're, doing our best to comply with state law, be sure that we're doing everything above board, while also whatever money we get back, we want to put right back in the community and continue to improve on quality of life. And I can't say enough about that blight elimination program. I think, again, people's first impressions are so hard to overcome. And, and we want to make sure that the people, the housing that we see, the retail businesses that we see, they're really nice, quality, beautiful buildings, and we don't have a ton of things that are less ideal sitting in the way of people being able to appreciate that stuff.
Thank you so much for, clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Thank
are
you.
a wealth of information, and
Yes,
I know
he is.
that is where you
Am
start.
I boring anybody yet?
Oh my
No,
goodness. We
heavens
could
no.
probably do 2 episodes with you, Joe, but we're
Really?
going to try to cover everything. I'm going to take a real quick break to remind you guys to connect with us by following City of Marion IN on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok, as well as our website, cityofmarion.in.gov, and on the new My Marion app, a free download through your Apple Store or Google Play Store. All All right, guys, we're going to get into our segment 2. And this is going to be a fun little icebreaker. I don't know who wants to go first, but what is something that makes you unique? It can be something that you are or something that you've done.
I'm going to let you take this, Joe.
Sure.
Okay, Joe, what you got?
Yeah, you prepared me for this, and I've been mulling it over, and I have a couple things. I'm not sure that any of them are that exciting. I think the one that might be the most unique is I'm fluent Spanish speaker. I was fortunate enough that I grew up in Lawrence Township schools, and we had a program called the Immersion Program. So from the second I stepped foot in a true classroom in first grade, I had native Spanish-speaking people speaking and teaching to me in Spanish.
Love that.
So first, second, and third grade, all day in Spanish. So we're, kids
Oh my
from Midwestern
gosh.
Indiana, suburban Indianapolis, and we get dropped in school, and we have someone speaking at us in a different language, and it's called the Immersion Program, because it's like jumping in the deep end, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And those young brains are able to handle it at that time, and you really just kind of gravitate and learn it as you go, and then by the time you get to 4th and 5th grade and 6th and 7th grade, it's half day, and then once you move into the high school, it becomes a smaller part of your curriculum, but it really, it's an effective program. It's a tried and true program. So then when I graduated from high school, I had a certificate from my high school, Lawrence North High School, but then I also was able to sit and take a test that was produced by it's called the Real Academia de España. It's the, sorry.
Very cool.
It's basically like
Love
a
it.
certificate from a certified school in Spain saying that you are a certified Spanish-speaking person, and it's
That's
part of it's the
amazing.
completion of this program. So then when I was fortunate enough, I mentioned I went to Indiana University Bloomington, and I stayed a little bit longer, and I was able to actually finish my degree in Spanish as well while I was there. So I hold a bachelor's in public policy, which is kind of what I do in my day-to-day work, but I also have a bachelor's in Spanish. So I certainly don't use it in my day-to-day life as much as I'd love to. My wife uses it far more. She went through the same program
wow.
and continues to work with Spanish-speaking people
Oh, great.
in elementary schools. But yeah, so we speak Spanish around the house, and we hope to teach our daughter Spanish as well, so that she can continue to.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
fascinating.
There you go.
Dina,
You might
and
you might
Joe,
regret giving out that information.
Yeah.
Because City Hall, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I get calls all day. Can you please come down and translate for us? And
Yeah,
so
please don't don't.
when I'm not available.
But honestly,
Joe can-
that's
So, yeah, like I
great.
said,
that
I
program.
I don't use
Yes.
it nearly as much anymore, so I'm a little rustier than I would care to admit. But
it's like
yeah,
riding a bike.
You give me like a week, and I'm right back into it.
Right.
My wife and I, we try to when we travel outside of the country, we try to go to Spanish-speaking countries so we can engage in that. I mean, we're big fans of everything that involves all of that, and my wife, I plug my wife. She's a 6th grade teacher in Lawrence Township Schools, and she's an ESL certified teacher. So she works with all of the English as a second language students in her classroom and really across the entire school, and a large majority of those are Spanish speaking people. So she gets to use it all the time and is awesome at it. I'm just like I said, I'm a little rusty.
So this is perfect.
Yeah,
I
this
would
is
have
great to
never known
know.
that about you.
And there was just an article in the paper about how this community really needs more resources, especially for adults
Yeah.
that are having trouble
Absolutely.
speaking English. We really need to talk. And I don't know what the schools are offering specifically right now, but I know that some people are listening to this podcast that maybe we can improve that here. But that's cool that you guys have that commonality.
Yeah, we had that same. So back when I worked in the city of Lawrence, my first project when I was an intern was working with our permitting and utility offices, because they knew I was a Spanish-speaking person, and we had probably been hearing a lot of what you heard, or still hear to this day, which is that it's challenging for the Spanish-speaking people, English as a second language people, to come in.
Right.
And figure out how to pay their utility bills and understand how to. So I had to translate all of our documents into Spanish. I produced YouTube videos where I had voiceover in Spanish to try to communicate to people how to navigate our websites to pay their utility bills and apply for permits and stuff like that. And so that was one of my big summer projects when I first came into local government. And so that was a lot of fun.
That is
Hopefully you got
amazing.
some compensation for that.
Yeah,
That is a large task.
It was
Yes.
it was a full summer. It was a 10-12 week project.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So Dina, I mean, you That's a cool commonality. And so
Yes.
I know that we have already talked about the fact that you can also speak fluent Spanish, but, I know some things about you that are pretty unique if you need help.
I don't know.
I think that you're very, very well knowledgeable in skincare products. And I think that about you,
I love
we were
you,
talking
Layla.
off air about how you could have a whole podcast series about skincare.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
It is a
Yeah,
thing, and
for me.
in nails and skincare and makeup, you know a lot about it, and it's something that you said off air, and we were Rob was listening very intently that you only have your skin, right? You
Yeah,
only
I
have one
said,
skin.
yeah, you have it like your whole life.
That's right.
Like my mom
important.
taught, and my mom is 80. If you were to, I mean, some of you might have seen her, like a picture of her on Facebook, but you wouldn't think that she's 80. And that's because of skincare.
Yes,
You know?
it's true.
And
It's important.
my sister and I, she taught us at an early age about how important it is to take good care of your skin.
So
Not
it's-
just your face, but the skin on your body
Yeah.
as well.
Well, you know who to talk to if you have any skincare questions. Just get a hold of
So
Dina.
funny.
Okay, I'm going to share a little something about myself that's kind of unique, and some other people know how to do it, I've found, and you might know how to do it as well. But when I went to IU, Joe, and but I took an economic development course when I started working for the City of Marion. And that was at Ball State, right? And so
This
it was
is the
building
Indiana
better
Basic
communities.
course?
Yes,
Yep.
it was all of that. It was a week long.
Yep.
And the question came up of if anyone could sing the states in alphabetical order.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I cannot do this. I know
and
this, but I can't.
I
cannot.
can do it.
Can
and
you
I
really?
learned it in elementary school. And so I got up in front of like 100 people and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Oh my gosh.
So would you guys like for me to
Yeah, can
give
we
it
see
a whirl?
can we see a rendition?
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyren, are you ready for this? Can I get some reverb? I'm just kidding. All right, here goes. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming.
Oh my goodness.
What was really cool about that?
That's great.
And that's actually, I hardly ever do it these days, but the fact that I learned it so young, like you said, Joe, when you're learning a new language, it is just instilled in me.
It's stuck in there, right?
Yes. So it was so funny when I was trying to think of something unique. I was like, okay, I could probably do that. But it's been forever since I've done it. So I did practice a little bit. But it's really fun when I did that at the Ball State course because I think they asked everybody to like do the wave, like stand up if you're from that state. And so people kept standing up and like the Indiana part was really fun.
That is so cool.
And so if you're ever in my office and you see a paper plate
Yep.
up at the top shelf, that was a paper plate award that they gave me that they probably just, I don't know, it was like a sunshine award that didn't really have a category.
Yeah. I got one of those as well.
Did you? What
Yeah.
was yours?
Oh,
Okay, we're not
no,
gonna-
it was. Yeah, I think mine was most likely to be elected mayor someday. So there you go.
Oh, there you go. Hey, maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the paper plate deal is for those people, the 6 people
It's a
that might have
thing.
attended the basic course that are listening. That's the paper plate means a lot to us.
Oh yeah, it really does. Mine's in a shadow box.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really fun.
It
I enjoyed
was.
learning that about you, Joe, especially.
Yes.
That was really surprising to find
There you
out.
go.
I'm blown away. We're across the hall, mates,
Yeah.
and
I
I had
know.
no clue.
Yeah, there you go. Whenever we need to,
ever need a backup.
we can have a covert conversation someday. If
Hey, I like where your head's at.
Sounds like I'm going to need to start
That's,
learning
yeah.
Spanish.
I can say, yeah, my wife will do. My wife and I will do that in public if we're sitting at a busy restaurant and we need to say something that maybe isn't for everybody's ears.
Oh, that's
my
so
gosh,
funny.
That is hilarious.
Okay. Well, this has just been fun. And I don't know if you wanted to talk about, we really did cover a lot,
Oh,
but maybe we can
yeah.
just go through some things to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything important that is in regards to your responsibilities. I know, Joe, that you come across some challenges in working in your job. We all do. So what do you think? I don't want to put you on the spot if you're not sure what the challenges could be, but yeah, just, in whether it's site selection or whether it's through redevelopment, is it getting the word out about something that we have to offer? What are those challenges?
Oh boy, there are certainly challenges. And Marion's not unique in that respect. I think the biggest thing that we've overcome that was the challenge of the city is what I keep referring to as kind of our culture, our kind of our attitude about us. I think that we have now what's it called? Desperation to destination.
That's
I think
right.
that I really resonated to with the mayor's first term, our first year in office term, which was the Marion deserves nice things. So I think we've overcome so much just by changing that paradigm and that perspective on how we're approaching development, pursuing development. Now it's just, I think, getting people to understand and recognize that coming to Marion isn't as risky as it once was, that we have a lot of projects that are in the pipeline that are happening, that are, a lot of them are already under construction or already cut ribbons on, that demonstrate to people that we already have proof of concept that we can do this, we can support your business, whether it's in retail, commercial, industrial, whatever it is. So I think from that perspective, my challenge is just continuing to market the city, continuing to let people know about that. We were just at a conference over this first half of this week, and we were kind of pitching the community to a lot of our retail partners and a lot of development people in that space. And I just kept telling people, I'm just here to preach the gospel of Marion. Like I need people to
Oh, I
understand
love that.
Cool.
Marion
Yeah.
is an exciting place to be, and that we are doing great things here. So it's not a challenge, but that's something that we're actively working on really, really hard is getting people to understand how many great things are happening here, and that we're on a really exciting trajectory. And now is the time to jump on, because
Prime.
you're gonna look back in 10 years, you're gonna be like, man, that's like the people that look back and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
came to me with the idea of investing in Apple stock in 1980, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what is at computers? Come on. So I really feel like we're at that stage right now, and so it's just convincing people of that is important. And so I'm always working to try to gather new ways to share that message and support that message with data, as well as other things, testimonials from our local business people that are working in Marion. So we work hard on that. Other than that, I think the biggest challenge that we have is just what every other community has, which is financial and time constraints. Right? We can only do so much in a given day. I wish we could work all hours of the day and get all this done, and I wish we had unlimited resources to be able to throw at people to come get them to town. But we just don't have those things, right? And that's not unique to Marion, but those are things that we have to always be keeping in the back of our minds as we decide, is it worth investing our time in this endeavor as opposed to continuing to work on the things that we already have ongoing in the community? Is it going to be financially possible for us to attract such a large project or do such a large undertaking of a project? So those are things that we have to always be keeping in the back of our mind and focusing on as we go through this process. So
Like a large project, but there's not enough housing. Is that's perhaps?
sure, that's part of it. But then, I think that there's just a certain type of, if I think back kind of to our neighbors down in central Indiana, a big project for us right now is a rebar in a River Rock Lofts, right? And that's going to be, 50, 60 units of multifamily housing and 3,500 square foot of commercial space. And that's just because that's what we can support right now. And that's what we have in terms of land availability. That's what we have in terms of incentive capacity to bring that kind of developer to town. And that's a great project. And Shelby's a great guy. And I mean, no disrespect to any of that. I mean, that's a huge, huge win for the community.
Yes.
But then you look down at Fisher's and they're cutting ribbons on 500 unit apartments with 12,000, 15,000 square foot of commercial space and building event centers, right? So there's just, we're playing in a certain sandbox, and that's great. So the constraint is, right, I can't go out right now and go grab that guy and bring him to town because we just don't have proof of concept for that yet. So that's, a constraint on what we can and can't get to the town right now.
I like our sandbox.
No, I do too. And part of our job is to understand that and work within those confines with the goal that in 5 years or in 10 years or whenever we can, if we continue to maintain this trajectory, get to that level where we can attract bigger and bigger and more impactful and more impactful development that brings, hundreds of homes, if not tens of homes, and brings hundreds of millions of dollars, not tens of millions of dollars to this community and new investment. So we're continuing to work towards that. And I think just in this short 18 months, you can see that we've already grown in stature and grown in the eyes of our development partners. So I think we're well on our way. But that's, of course, our ceiling is set right now, and we're bumping up against it. But there's still levels above us that we need to get to.
Yeah, that's easy to visualize. And if you want to learn more about the stats that, Joe, you were talking about, you want to share with the community and share with site selectors how we are doing. I know that there is a 2024 report card that's very impressive on the website, and it's through the developer resources page right there accessible from the home page. So all you have to do is click on that, and that is actually it's going to be even more robust as we continue to build it, but you can start there. And then what else did you want to mention that was on that particular page?
Yeah, and first off, Layla, thank you not only for bringing it up, but for helping with the creation of that website. I kind of came to you on short notice and said I'd really like to throw this together, and you were on it, and I appreciate that about
Absolutely.
you. That developer resources page, we're continuing to build it out, but it will be in short time here kind of an end-all be-all it'll be the resource hub for all development-related matters. So if you are in any kind of development, retail, commercial, housing, industrial, or you're just doing spec development in one of those industries, you need to visit that page, and it'll tell you, again, it'll show you kind of our most recent economic reports. So it'll have most recent projects that we've done. It'll kind of go into more detail about some of the numbers that you just shared here with us, and talks about the projects behind how those numbers came to be. It'll also include, we've got a little bit of a cheesy video at the top of that page where myself and the mayor and a number of other community leaders kind of stood up in front of a camera and said, hey, we want you to come to town. It was kind of, again, our sales pitch to those developers right off the top that, hey, Marion is open for business, and we're ready to have that conversation with you if you're willing to come to town. And we wanted to get that out so that people understood that this isn't just, this is a page that is active and it's living and breathing, and that we're trying to really, really work hard to be open for business and listen to these people and try to understand what they need to hear to make their decision about whether or not to come to town. And then in addition to that, we've got, things that aren't necessarily exciting to most people, but are important to developers, like our demographic data and our market research that we've been able to find that's publicly available and is now available on our website, as well as our site selection website, where you can go and engage with an interactive map that has all of the available sites that we have listed right now in our community for development. And then most importantly, and this isn't me, tooting my own horn, but most importantly on there is my contact information, right?
Yes.
So I think that if you even have, my time is valuable. I just mentioned that, or one of our resource constraints is time, but if you want to have a conversation, I will always pick up the phone and have a conversation with you if it's about development in the community of Marion. And I will, like I said, get up firsthand and kind of preach the gospel of Marion and tell you why you won't regret coming to our community and why you won't regret your investment. And I think it'll pay off for everybody in the end. It'll benefit the community. It'll also benefit the developer. This isn't one thing that's important for any developers out there listening is, we're trying to bring you to town because we think it'll benefit you as well, right? Of course, my prerogative is let's continue to grow the city of Marion in a smart and healthy way. But I'm not going to sell you a lie, right? We're going
not a snake oil pitch.
It's not a snake oil pitch. What we can demonstrate through our demographic data, which is getting better and better as we continue to dive deeper into this field, is that your return on investment is going to be really, really good as well, right? So you're going to, I'm looking out for myself. I understand you have to look out for yourself. I'm telling you here now, you're going to be thankful, and you're going to thank me. You're going to thank the mayor in 5 years and 10 years because your company's going to be doing great here. Your business is going to do great here. And like I said, that trajectory is it's tremendous. And now is the time to get on, because 10 years from now it might be too late.
Yeah, well, I think our mayor's spending our tax dollars in a very smart way
Yes.
by hiring you, Joe, our grant writer, people that are really doing some major impactful work here. And it's only going to continue to grow. Like you said, it's going to, this is just an early stock that you need to buy in.
That's right. That's right.
Marion is prime for redevelopment, so jump on the train.
Yeah, jump on that train. All right, if we are done here, I wanted to make sure we didn't forget anything, Joe, but this has been very educational and very fun, and we really enjoyed having you on the podcast.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thank you guys as well. And if there's anything else I can think of, it would just be to be sure to remind you guys that, again, my phone number is open. My email is open. Check it out on the Developer Resources page. You can also find me, hanging out at City Hall, at Redevelopment Commission meetings, at council meetings. Please come up and get to know me. I know I'm not a Marion resident. I'm not a Marion local, but I told this to my colleagues at our conference the other day. I care deeply about the success of Marion. So I want to hear your conversations. I want to hear your opinions, because one thing I'll admit right off the top, I don't have all the answers, right? I need the community's help. I need our developer partners' help. I need everybody in the room to be able to work together so we can come up with the correct solution to continue to grow Marion, again, not just in any direction, but in a smart and healthy way, so that we continue to be successful.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned the Developer Resources page as a way for them to find your information, because go, check that out first of all. And Joe works remote, so he might not be in the office. He's out doing a lot of important work for us. So you never know where he's going to be. So you might want to either call and leave him a voicemail or send him an email. And I'm sure that Joe looks forward to talking with you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to the How Marion Works podcast. Follow us on social media. Listen to the podcast on platforms like Apple, Spotify, and all other major platforms. Episodes release every other Monday at 5 a.m., so be on the lookout. Archives are found at howmarionworks.com. So for Joe Murphy and Dina Weiss, I'm Layla Price-Bodkin, and this is How Marion Works.
Thank you for listening to the How Marion Works podcast. We hope you'll join us next time.